Hey toy collectors, welcome to another super exciting, outrageous toy review. Today, we're taking a look at the anatomy of a Jumbo Pop. So in front of you, I have the oversized He-Man. He's Retro Toys Pop number 43. And he's actually broken. So I wanted to show you guys what's going on inside this big old Pop, because I sent a picture of him to a friend after he broke, and we started talking about some of the interesting decisions or background things that are going on with this figure. And I don't know, this kind of thing interests me. I don't know if it interests you guys. Let me know what you think of this video in the comments down below. Here's Jumbo He-Man next to a regular size Pop. This is the original release He-Man. He's quite a bit smaller, and you can see some other differences, including the hair color. But we're going to set this guy aside. I took this Jumbo He-Man to work. I set him on a shelf where I could display him. And when I put him on the shelf, I thought, boy, he doesn't really balance well. His feet just kind of had a slight wobble to them. So I kind of pushed him back a little further away from the edge of the shelf. And, you know, that was the end of that. He was there for multiple hours during work. And then sometime while I was out of the room for lunch, I came back and he was on the floor. I was like, ugh. So I flipped him over and found that his head had caved in. So he took a header and landed right on his head, I assume, like that. And I took a picture of him, and I sent it to my friend Tony, and he said, wow, so the head's molded out of yellow plastic. And I thought, that's interesting. That is interesting. Like, did they do that because there's less surface area that's flesh tone than yellow, so that saved them on paint? Did they do it because He-Man is tan, and they just kind of carry the pale skin tone plastic? I'm not really sure. I thought that was really interesting and something that it would be cool to kind of try and figure out on other characters. So you can see this big old chunk of plastic, the lower portion of his head that's still attached to him, and the way that pivot point works for that one point of pop articulation. You can see that his arms actually are probably glued on as separate pieces, and this glue joint loosened up. And you can see the way that they interconnect all the parts, right? If you made this shape character in a mold, you would need a mold that came out in so many different sections, because you get the interior pockets and negative draft, right? The axe head is bigger than the axe handle. You can't pull it out of a mold easy. So by being able to mold a flat piece and then glue that onto the torso, same thing with the other arms, same thing with the legs, that really does make things a little bit easier for you. But who knew that a Jumbo character, was made out of so many pieces? We just tend to think of Pops as being hollow. Thank goodness his body is pretty solid, because this weight probably does help him stand up with that big old head. But for whatever reason, his feet just are not flat enough to get him to stand securely enough. Just trying to show you how his feet sit on a flat surface. You can see that his legs definitely lean forward a little bit. There is a slight gap here at his back heel. And is that enough to make him want to rock, that he's not getting enough surface area? Maybe. The shield and the axe are pretty heavy, and of course his head is enormous. If his body leaned back just a little bit more, would that have kept him upright? So now I'm left with the question of, what do I do with my broken He-Man? Can I find a spring big enough to turn him into a big old bobblehead? I could maybe glue the head back on, but he's still going to have holes. There are places where the plastic just burst out of him. This isn't a totally clean surface in here, right? There's some chunks that went missing. So I don't know what to do, or maybe I should get a Cabbage Patch Kid doll and sew this to it. That's what I keep thinking about when I'm holding this Jumbo Pop head as a Cabbage Patch Kid. I don't know. It's a shame that this broke. I am very disappointed that happened. I don't think it's Funko's fault, per se. I did choose to put it on a high shelf. And I was nervous when I put him up there. It just didn't seem right. He didn't seem like he wanted to stand. He balances better with the head up here where I've got it seated, when it was actually on him the right way, it just felt like he wanted to go forward. And like I said, I tried to push him back towards the edge of the shelf to try and save him, and it just didn't work. Thanks for watching this super exciting, outrageous toy review. Make sure to like, subscribe, and check out my other videos.